Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 25. So, in last episode, if you didn't catch it, we simulated the regular season, and we have made it back to the playoffs for the first time in 2 years. Last time we made it, we took on Minnesota, ended up losing in 7 games, and ended up going on to win the Stanley Cup. So I'm hoping for a little bit of a better outcome here, considering we do have some pending UFAs that are pretty big. So this might be one of the last runs they get with this team before some of the team starts to move on and we start to make some adjustments. But it should be an interesting series. We're going up against a really tough St. Louis Blues team who won 54 games in a regular season to our 50. It was a really good year for this team for the most part in terms of like depth scoring and all that, but it's still a little bit worrisome just because we didn't really get, I would say, the best results in terms of goaltending. But you can see this is what our team's looking like going into this year's playoffs, and I think it's definitely a lot stronger than it was last time we were in the playoffs, because if I remember right, last time we were in the playoffs, like our bottom six wasn't really that great still. Our defensive core was probably a little bit weaker than this, not by much, but still a little bit weaker. And then obviously our goaltending was not as good at that point in terms of overall rating at least. Well, Trenton Spezza is starting in this playoffs, and I'm still a little bit skeptical about this guy. He hasn't posted above a 900 save percentage in a regular season, so maybe he's a playoff goalie. If he's not a playoff goaltender, then I'm not too sure how long-term this guy is going to be part of our team, but I'm hoping that he could kind of surprise me in this playoffs. Hopefully, also, we could get some good depth scoring throughout our lineup, get guys like Ristolainen, Bogosian, Steen all doing good stuff, because during the regular season, Stefan Steen is the third-line center, 58 points, which is great. We also have Bogosian, who's a pending UFA at the moment, might be leaving the team in the offseason, with 79 points. So that was also a big year for him, especially in the plus-minus department. So just all three centers basically worked well there. And even Mauricio Peterson, 34 points as a fourth-line guy with some short-handed time. Like, we definitely have the best face-off skill, I think, almost probably in the entire league, because all these guys can win draws really good. So I'm hoping that maybe could also play a factor in the series. And then hopefully we can get guys like Kim, Staubitz, Doig, Kolars, etc., all doing well in the playoffs as well. So very excited to see what this team could do, but hopefully it's a better outcome than last time we were in the playoffs. We do have a different coach than last time we were in the playoffs as well, so maybe that will change things a little bit as well. But anyways, before we get into this first round matchup with the St. Louis Blues, let's get in your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode. And then we'll go over to St. Louis Blues lines again, just in case you forgot, and then we'll get into this first round matchup. So the first comment is from Joseph D. Miller, who says, congrats on another playoff run. Good luck, and thank you for that, man. Obviously, the last time we were in the playoffs, like I said, we lost in 7 games, but it was against a team that went on to win the Stanley Cup, so maybe we have a good chance this year. Also, our head coach at the beginning of the season said that this team is a cup contender, so who knows what could happen in this playoff run. Maybe this is a run where we actually win multiple rounds. Maybe we actually do win a Stanley Cup this year. Maybe we actually lose in the first round. It's really tough to tell, but I think this team has it in them because we do have a lot more offensive options to go to in this playoffs than we did last time we were in the playoffs. Our defensive core, like I said, is stronger, and our goaltending technically is stronger, even though Spezza has been simulating a bit inconsistently. The next comment is from Ryan the Sharky, who says, rip to Bo. Also, you could probably turn on injuries now, so he's saying rip to Bo because Bo Horvat was the head coach of the Nashville Predators, I think it was, and then he got fired mid-season, which was kind of funny, so a little bit of a shout out to my Islanders here with Bo Horvat and all that stuff. So, but he's saying to turn on injuries back on, and I think that is a good time for us to turn injuries back on. I know that there's some people that really just don't like that I didn't have injuries on, because there's also a comment from Dylan Burrows who says, let me know when you turn injuries on. I'll start watching again. I just can't handle get behind a world where everyone is 100%. It's your game. You enjoy it. Just let me know, please. And I kind of frustrates me a bit. I like Dylan. Dylan's a great commenter and all that, but it kind of frustrates me when people think that just like subtle little things like that ruin the experience, because to me, basically with draft to glories and stuff like that, your team's never really that great at the beginning of franchise mode anyways. So like it's basically just a way to kind of develop players a bit quicker and stuff like that if you don't have injuries on for the first few years. Also, you could get through seasons a lot faster. So that's why I had injuries turned off. Hopefully a lot of you guys can understand that, but it's just kind of annoying when like small little things like that are the reason why some people don't even want to watch the series. So It's actually at 9 of it out of 100 already. Or did I just turn it off on the other part of the screen? Maybe I did. Yeah, they're turned off right there. So we'll turn it back on. We're going to keep it at 9 out of 100 because if you have it at like 10 or something like that, they happen way too frequently. If you have them at 8, they like barely happen. So they're back on now. And we'll see if that ends up impacting the series at all in a bad way. Hopefully it doesn't too much because I don't want to have to call up guys from the minors and all that type of thing. That's the one thing that's a little bit annoying about doing that, but hopefully it doesn't play too much of a factor in if we're going to win a Stanley Cup or not. The next comment is from Sour Taco. Says the Avs won the Cup by outscoring their defensive and goaltending shortcomings, so a deep run wouldn't be unprecedented. My prediction is Spezza will struggle in the playoffs, while Semenov will be the series' Aiden Tays and potentially be the one to bring home the ultimate prize. So he's shouting out the Anchorage Ice Tigers series, which if any of you guys didn't see that series, that was maybe one of my favorite drafted glories I've done. But he seems to think that Spezza is going to also do bad in the playoffs, and then we're going to have to rely on Semenov, who didn't really have much experience during the regular season. This is his first year in the NHL. He had a .903 save percentage, but he thinks he's going to be this version of Aiden Tays, which, if you guys never seen what Aiden Tays did for the Albuquerque team, or not Albuquerque team, Anchorage team, goddamn, all these A teams, Anchorage team, he basically helped us win like 8 straight games, I think it was, in the playoffs. Is a very low overall, like a 77, 76, I think, and then he helped us win his multiple Stanley Cups. He was great in the playoffs as well as a playoff goalie, so yeah, he was one of those really unsung players I had in a drafted glory. So he thinks Semenov could be that type of guy for this franchise mode, which would be interesting if that's the case. And the last and final comment is from Michael Dose, who says, are you worried though that Albuquerque makes playoffs and has a harder time keeping that momentum going as the picks come later and later? Or can this team string together 3, 4, 5 seasons in a row of playoff appearances? And that's a tough one to say because, like I said, it really depends on, like, I guess how good our prospects are developing. Like, I think we could probably string together a couple playoff series in a row or playoff years in a row. Because right now this roster, most of these guys are signed for at least 2 seasons, I'd say. And we do have guys in the minors that are very getting close to making it, like Hector Cashman, for example. Camilleri could come back up. We have Pascal Lambert, who's maybe getting close. Ahinen's getting close. Like, we do have a lot of guys we could potentially bring up from the AHL. Even Zach Hurd could be on our defensive core relatively soon. So I think there's a chance we could still be competitive for multiple seasons. But at the same time, I don't know if it's going to last as long as it did with some of my other series where I was in the playoffs for like 15 straight years, I think, or something like that. Because I'm pretty sure some drafted glories, at least I think it was like Anchorage or maybe it was Halifax, I was making the playoffs pretty consistently. So I'm not too sure if this series is going to be the same type of boat, but I'm hoping that obviously we could at least get a Stanley Cup while we are competitive. So anyways, there's that. Let's get into what the Blues are looking like again, just in case you guys forget, because I honestly forget a little bit of what they look like. I think they were pretty solid, if I remember right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now I remember. So they have very good center depth with Thomas, Dvorsky, and Bolduc. Like, they're a bit more of a veteran-heavy team, but they do have some young guys sprinkled in. Kennens is only 25. You have Ranta, who's only 25. You also have Porter Martone, only 28 years old. So yeah, they have a very solid forward group, very good on the right wing side, I'd say. Left wing side as well. I'm surprised that Kennens isn't in the top 6 for them. And then they have that awesome center depth. And then from a defensive standpoint, this top pairing of Lapalainen and Landon Dupont is a very nice pairing. The second pairing's not too bad, and then that top 6 pairing's pretty good, I would say, with Ladine and Juracek. And then their goaltending, we have Joel Hofer and Hunter Jones to go through. So their goaltending is a little bit on the weaker end of things, which is interesting. So I don't know if it's going to be like a really good simulating cheese type of playoff goalie sim, but it's going to be an interesting matchup for sure to see who ends up winning this series. Hopefully we could do it and knock them out. And then I could basically punch my channel mascot in the face, which if you guys are in the Discord, you know my Discord emoji, Dave. He's a St. Louis Blues fan, so we got to beat this Blues team and throw Dave to the wolves, basically, if possible. So anyways, let's keep the team to start at least the playoffs, and then if we lose multiple games in a row, we will make some adjustments with Spezza and all that type of thing. But I do want to see how this team simulates first before we jump to making any adjustments accordingly. So let's get to game number 1 in St. Louis, see if we could get off to a good start on the road. Hopefully we can. I don't know what the season series was like against St. Louis. I probably should have taken a look at that just because I think I did that last time we were in the playoffs. But anyways, first period, game number 1. 1-0 Blues. Not terrible. Not terrible. The shots are 15-8, so Spezza actually was maybe our best player in that first period because we didn't generate a lot of offense. They had 15 shots on goal, and Frost is the one that beat Spezza. So we are still in this game, but it's likely because of Spezza at the moment. So hopefully we could generate some more chances in the second period, because if this is going to be a series where our offense is just completely bad, then we're going to get into a little bit of trouble, because obviously we can't really have good defensive and goaltending games, because I think that's our weak point still. So I do need our offense to definitely show up, if possible, in the second period and beyond that as well. Second period, 2-1. Okay, we do get on the board. Peltier made it 2-0 early on, but a goal a couple minutes later from Tulipov. So we do get a goal from a defenseman, which is kind of surprising. I think that's the defenseman, right? Or do we have two Tulipovs in our lineup? I don't remember if the other Tulipov's in the AHL or not. I think the other Tulipov's in the AHL, so that would be the defenseman, if I'm not mistaken. But we only have 13 shots on goal, so that period we literally only had 5 shots on goal and we scored 1, which is good that we scored 1, but still, that's not good to have only 5 shots in a period. We're getting doubled up in shots and in goals. Shots are 26-13, and it's a 2-1 game for the Blues. Can we find a way to tie this game up in the third period? Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. Let's get that next one. Power play for us. We do not score on it. That was a big opportunity, but we could not get it done. We still aren't generating a lot of shots on goal in this game. And Staubitz ties the game up. Okay, the pending UFA, the captain of the team. It's a big one. Power play for us. We cannot score on it, but we have at least tied the game up despite the lack of shots. And we are going to be going to overtime in the first game of the series. Shots are 35-23 in favor of the Blues. So right now, I would say Spezza has actually been the best player, which is kind of surprising. I don't know if it's going to continue for multiple games because, like I said, during the regular season, he's pretty inconsistent, it seems like. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good game here, he's going to get blown to shit in one of these other games coming up. So anyways, who wants to be the hero for us in overtime? Who do I want to call upon? Let me see in my head, trying to think. For some reason, the first name that came to my mind was Norena, so I'm going to say Norena gets the game-winning goal. Let's see what happens in overtime. Come on, boys. Let's win this first one. Yes, we do. And it's Ristolainen. Okay, that's a good player to score in overtime. Literally 37 seconds in, and we got outshot badly 35-24, but we do escape with a victory in St. Louis. So that's a huge win for our team. Hopefully that's the one to build off some confidence going home almost, because we do have one more game in St. Louis, obviously, but we have a chance at least now, because we've taken a road game, which is awesome. So great way to start it off. I think we took game 1 when we played against Minnesota a few years ago as well. So not too bad of a start for this team again. So Tulipov from Ristolainen and Kolar's. We had Staubitz from Doig and Ristolainen with the game-winning goal from Rick Kim and Kolar's. Let's go. So Kim picking up an assist in his first game of this year's playoffs. Obviously, last time we were in the playoffs is when he debuted for our team. So hopefully he has a good playoffs for us. But yeah, Ristolainen had a great game. 2 points. Kolar's had 2 points as well. But Ristolainen, 8 shots on goal. So he's definitely our best player in terms of shots, because he doubled up everybody else in shots on the team. So he's doing what he can for this team to try and win games. And look at the stats from Spezza. A 943 save percentage. Still says he only played 40 minutes, which I think it was glitched, because if you guys saw at the end of the first period, I think it said 2016 left. So I'm guessing that's why it was glitched out. But he played a full game and had a very good save percentage. That's a very good start for an elite goalie in the playoffs. So hopefully he does more of that as this series goes on. Ristolainen, though, gets first star. He gets second star. And Peltier for the Blues gets the third star. Okay. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Hopefully we don't get into any injuries, right? Okay, good. No injuries so far. Just got to hope that they don't impact us at all in this playoffs somehow. Okay, so we're going to keep the team the exact same, because that was a pretty textbook first game. I know we barely escaped with the win, but obviously I like the way our defense was in terms of like not giving up much goals. I like our goaltending. Like, we did allow a lot of shots on goal, but likely if Spezza could play like that every single game, we definitely have a better chance to win games going forward. So let's keep the team the exact same until we lose multiple games in a row, probably. Let's get to game 2 and see if we can win both games in St. Louis, because that would be a very good way to start, and then we would have to find ways to win on our home ice if we could as well. So first period of game number 2. Do we have another good game in us? So far, so good. Rick Kim opens the scoring quite early on. I like to see that. Shots are 12-11, so much better period in terms of shots in that first one. Like that a lot. 12-11, 1-0 game. Can we get some insurance in the second period to make it safer for the third period? Or is this going to be one of those series that every game is pretty damn tight? Second period. 3-0 us. Okay, there we go. That's what I want to see. We're starting to play pretty good. Doig makes it 2-0 with a power play goal. Love to see it. And then Kolar scores with 34 seconds left. So that's a pretty big goal late in that second period. And shots are in their favor, 22-21. So far, Spets has been actually pretty damn good through 5 periods of playoff hockey. I like it. I like it a lot. So maybe if he's a playoff goaltender, is he worth the type of money to get an 8-year extension? I don't know about that. But regular season, he just does not seem to assimilate well. So far in the playoffs, he seems like maybe a different animal. Let's see what happens in this third period. See if we can lock this one down and take both games in St. Louis. So far, so good. We just got to play good defensive hockey in this third period, and we should be able to win this game. So, as Staubitz makes it 4-0, that should be the nail in the coffin, so to speak. It should be. But Hagel breaks Spezza's shutout, of course, after I said that, 4-1. Final few minutes here of Game 2. Are we going to lock it down? It looks like we are. Yep, we are going to lock it down, and we win Game 2 by a score of 4-1. I almost said 40-1. Goddamn, shots are 28-28 at the end of the game, so even in shots, but we win by 3. So currently, Spezza has been the main difference maker, and I wanted to move my face down here. I don't think I did that for this game. I honestly don't remember, but anyways, we have a 2-0 series lead, winning both games on the road, so that's a great way to start it off. So we have Kim from Ristolainen, Doig from Bogosian and Del Monte, Kolars from Kim and Ristolainen, and Staubitz from Tuzolino and Bogosian. So this team has a 2-0 series lead ahead at home, which is huge. Hopefully we can take that momentum onto our home ice as well. Hopefully it's not the home ice win trend, where if you lose on home ice multiple times in a row, then you win on the road, that type of thing. Yeah, Ristolainen another 2-point game, Kim had another 2-point game, Bogosian had a 2-point game. Looks pretty solid, and another great game from Spezza with a .964 save percentage. Love to see that. 3 stars of the game, Spezza the first star, Kim the second star, and Kolars the third star. So we have both games won in St. Louis. Now the question is if we could win some games in Albuquerque as well. I think when we played against Minnesota, we might have won more road games than home games, but I honestly don't remember. So that will be interesting to see if we can win more here this year. We're the only series in the league that's right now 2-0, which is interesting. Every other series is 2-1 or 1-1. So we might be the only team that goes up 3-0 if we could win this game. Love to see that. Okay, let's get to this next game. We haven't lost multiple games in a row yet, so we're going to keep the team the exact same for Game 3. Let's keep that good defensive identity, good goaltending that Spets has been performing, and continue to score goals, and we could definitely win our first ever playoff series. So here we go, Game 3. Back on home ice. Can we also win on home ice to give us a chance to close out the Blues? First period of game number 3. 2-0 St. Louis. That's the Spezza I know. That's the Spezza I know. Dvorsky makes it 1-0. Peltier makes it 2-0. Now that's 2 goals on 12 shots, so it's not terrible, but that's not the best start obviously we've had so far in this playoffs. 2 goals in the final 5:37 of the period, so we need to have a good second period here. We can't allow them to score more goals. We need to get at least 1 goal back so we could maybe crawl back into this game, but obviously being down by 2 after the first period is probably one of the worst spots you could be in. Now, it would be nice if we could get 2 goals back in the second period, but if we only just get 1 and don't give up anything, I think I'll be happy with that. So, second period, can we get a good response from the team? Yes, we can. Okay, what a crazy period. Jeez, 4-4 all of a sudden. It was 2-0. Now it's 4-4. But Bogosian makes it 2-1. Kennan's made it 3-1. We answer back with 3 unanswered goals. Narena on the power play, Kolars, and then Ristolainen. And then Yurchek tied it up with 39 seconds left. So far, we've been scoring a lot of goals. We also have generated a lot of shots on goal because we have 31 shots to their 18. So Spets is definitely not having a good game here, but our team is at least scoring goals when he's not doing that well. So hopefully that's something that helps out in the playoffs as well. As if Spets is not doing well, hopefully our offense at least is producing at a relatively good rate. So let's see what happens in this third period. See if we could get that lead back. We had it momentarily for like 7 minutes, but they answered back again. So this is going to be a very close one. Might go to overtime again, potentially. Let's see what happens in period number 3. Come on, boys. Let's get that next one. I don't know who wants to score it, but somebody could score it. Maybe like Rick Kim. Gotta always shout out Rick Kim. You know who knows, maybe he'll be a fan favorite at some point. Kesselring makes it 5-4 for St. Louis. Not good. Do we have a response to that? Not yet. Come on, guys. We only have a few more minutes. One more goal, please. Yurchek, the empty netter with 7 seconds left. And St. Louis is going to take one of our games on home ice. Not a great effort from Spezza. 6 goals on 31 shots. Actually, I guess one of them was an empty net goal. I guess he didn't technically have a good third period, but yeah, that was not a good second period in terms of goaltending. But obviously our offense was good in that game, but we just could not find that goaltending. So that's one of those games that probably Spezza had during the regular season where he was just allowed way too much goals. Like, we had a great second period, but we didn't show up really in the third period or the first period, so that kind of blew a little bit. But Bogosian from Del Monte and Doig. We had Norena from Bogosian and Doig. Kolars from Kim and Ristolainen. And Ristolainen from Tuzolino and Bell. All right. 3 stars in that game. Ristolainen got first star, so we probably should have won that game. Yurchek the second star and Doig the third star. Let's look at the player stats here for a second and just see if there's any major problems. -3 from the fourth line in Zetterberg. He only played 6 minutes. So the fourth line had a bit of a rough time defensively in that one. Mark Dagg as well. A lot of the younger guys like Lee as well. And an .833 save percentage from Spezza. Yeah, Spezza's definitely got that inconsistency for sure. Like, those first 2 games were good. That last game was absolutely dreadful. But we're still going to start him for this next game just because obviously we haven't lost multiple in a row. And I don't know if I'll change our fourth line yet. Like I said, if we lose multiple in the row, that's probably the best time to change things. But right now, maybe I should just get rid of Zetterberg and scratch him and then call somebody up from the AHL instead. But I'm not too sure yet. I'm probably going to wait just in case. But yeah, that fourth line has probably been our worst line. Like, Spezza's, not Spezza's, Zetterberg's a -4. You have Peterson who's a -3 and Dagg a -2. That third line looks like it's been out there for a lot of goals against as well. So it is the bottom 6 right now that's been the main issue. Like, the top 6 has been good. Defensively, our top pairing has been eh. Most of our defensive core hasn't been that great, to be honest. That pairing was only a -1 before, wasn't it? Or am I just... I thought that was a -1 before. Maybe I'm not. Maybe that's in my Islanders here, is that the top 6 pairing's a -1, but eh. I don't know why this chemistry is kind of being a little bit problematic right now. But yeah, Spets is now down to a 913. And his numbers might continue to drop if we continue to lose games. So we're going to keep the team the same for this next game. But obviously, if we have another bad effort like that, I will make some adjustments. Can't get rattled too much after one loss. But hopefully we can respond in a big way. Because that will definitely show if we maybe are a cup contender. Because good teams will always rebound from a big loss like that. So... let's see what happens in Game 4. See if we could get back on the winning trend. If we could win here on home ice, we have a chance to close out the series at least 3 times. Or at most 3 times, I should say. If we lose this game, it might be the home ice win trend. Or the home team doesn't win till Game 7. Which, if that's the case, we'll lose in 7 games again. So I'm hoping that I'm completely wrong with that. But let's get to Game 4. See if we could respond after that last game. We had good offense, I would say, obviously. But it was only 1 period. And then we didn't get that goaltending results that we did in the first 2 games. So we need that if we're going to win games. First period of Game 4. Oh my goodness. Yep, this is the Spezza that we know. DuPont, Bolduc, and Pelletier. We're down 3-0 after 1. Last game it was 2-0 after 1. This one's even worse, as they score 3 goals in the first 9 minutes, or last 9 minutes of the period. Not good. Shots are 16-7 as well, so even though Spezza hasn't been playing good, he's also getting peppered in shots, so we're just giving up way too much chances. We're not generating enough of our own. We need a big response in the second period, like at least 1 or 2 goals of our own and nothing for the Blues. If we do that in the second period, like have a good second period like last game in terms of scoring goals, we could get back into this game, but it is a huge hill to climb the rest of this game. Do we have a response in the second period? Second period? 4-2. Okay, that's kind of a response. We did outscore them that period. Del Monte scores on the power play to make it 3-1. Martone's goal makes it 4-1. Bogosian makes it 4-2. We are in the striking distance. We are also almost even in shots now, which is kind of surprising. So we definitely had a better second period. Kind of sucks that we gave up that goal to Martone because or else we'd be within 1 goal. But maybe we have a chance to tie this up in this third period. We just need to find a way to get an early one, and then maybe we could still tie it up. So let's see what happens in period 3. So far, Spezza hasn't been great again, but can we find a way to tie this game up potentially in the third? Come on, guys. Like I said, we might need an early goal here if we want to have a chance to tie this one back up. But so far, they're kind of shutting the door down on us, not giving us a lot of chances either. Looks like we're going to be going to at least a Game 6 in this series. Unfortunately, we are up 2-0. But the St. Louis Blues are going to take both of our home games. It might be the trend that I was talking about, which is not great. So there's back-to-back losses. 39 shots on goal against, which is not great. Spezza was okay, I'd say, in that game because he faced a lot of shots. But we gave up way too much early on, and that definitely hurt us. Like, we only seem to be scoring right now in the second period as of late. So Del Monte from Doig and Bogosian from Doig. All right. Let's take a look at those individual stats for a second here. Any badly minus guys? No, all minus ones. Spets had an 897, but I'd say he was still okay in that game by comparison to at least last game. But Joel Hofer has kind of taken over in this series a little bit, which is not good. So we definitely need to make some adjustments. I just don't know exactly what we're going to do. We probably will just restructure the top 6 a bit, maybe. Also the bottom 6. But I really hope this isn't the home ice trend. I really hope it isn't. Because we better be able to respond after losing 2 straight games. Or if we end up just like losing 4 straight games after we're up 2-0 or something like that, it's going to be a bit of a bummer. Because this year we should be able to at least win 1 series. I'd say probably even closer to 2 series. But let's go back to Staubitz on the top line. Go back to Kim on the second line just for one change. We're also going to swap... let's see. Doig has been one of our best players, to be honest, in this playoffs. You know what? I'm trying to think here. Rick Kim can't play the left side, though. I was going to think about putting Doig into the top line. I'm trying to think of what I could realistically do here. Let's swap Capaduca and Del Monte around. Actually, they can't really, technically. Oh my goodness. Fourth line has been pretty bad defensively for the lack of ice time they play. What could I do? Maybe swap Steen and Bogosian? Sure. I mean, Bogosian has been good, though. 5 points in 4 games. Steen has nothing, but maybe that's a subtle change we need to make. So it's not a lot of changes. I could also just go with something like this and swap Capaduca down to the 4th line just to get Zetterberg off that 4th line. From a defensive standpoint, this top pairing, Tuzolino's been pretty bad, to be honest. We're going to go to something a little bit different. Oh, man, that makes our chemistry so bad. Yeah, I got to keep Tuzolino on the top pairing at that point. There's not really much I could do in terms of defensive adjustments. I could go with this. Bellin, Narena, Tulipov, and Tuzolino. All right. And then, yeah, Spezza, 909, and he's been pretty bad in most of these last 2 games, I'd say. Do I go to Semenov? Let me look at their stats here. Who has better poise, out of curiosity? Not that it matters much. Spezza does. Just looking at the individual attributes. Spezza's technically way better in everything, but, do I give Semenov a game? I don't think I'm going to give Semenov a game yet. If Spezza loses a 3rd straight, I will give Semenov a chance, I think. But right now, we got to go with this. So, we're going to go with Kolar's, Ristolainen, and Staubitz, our original top line. Maybe for the last time, who knows. I think Staubitz will come back, but it's going to be pricey. Second line has Kim, Steen, Doig, Del Monte, Bogosian, Zetterberg. And then the 4th line has now Capaduca, Peterson, Dag. There's not really much else I could do. Like, I could call up guys from the AHL, but I don't really know about that. I think the AHL team's actually in the playoffs too, right? Yeah, the AHL team's in the playoffs. They might have been eliminated already. I'm not too sure on that, but I just don't really know if I want to reach into the AHL if they are actually in a playoff spot. Like, I'd rather them get development down there than in the NHL, I think, at the moment. So, let's keep the team the exact same for the rest of this for now. See if we are able to respond after 2 straight losses. But we're on the brink of elimination, technically, because if we lose this game in St. Louis, then it's probably going to be over, I think. If we win this game, we're not on the brink of elimination, but I think our team is kind of showing that we're still inexperienced, because 10 goals against in the last 2 games is not good. Our first 2 games were much better. I know we're not technically on the brink of elimination, but I almost feel like we are. So let's see what happens. Game 5. See if we could take a series lead. Again, can we win our third game in St. Louis? If we do win our third straight game in St. Louis, though, I feel like we're going to lose in Game 7 somehow. So I'm a little bit worried, but let's see if our team gets a good response after 2 straight losses. First period. 2-2. Okay, so Spezza's still not playing that great. 2 goals on 12 shots, but our offense has came to show up a little bit, which is good in that first period. Hopefully, we can find that goaltending we did in the first 2 games, because if we don't find that goaltending, that's going to be a bit of an issue. So, like I said, if we lose this game, though, I probably will turn to Semenov next game, because at that point, Spezza probably screwed us over a lot. So, but Martin makes it 1-0 on the power play. Bogosian tied it up only 13 seconds later, so they didn't have to lead that long. Then they get a goal 23 seconds later, so 3 goals within that minute, which is kind of insane. And then Rick Kim with 10 minutes left with a tying goal. We had 17 shots in that first period, so we are generating chances, which is good. Hopefully we could score more goals, though, than only 2 goals in a period. Second period. 3-3. Okay, this is maybe one of those games that go to overtime. You never know. Zetterberg scores to give us the lead. Hagel ties it up only 4 minutes later, pretty much. And it's the 3-3 game going into the third. We have 33 shots to their 23, so there's a lot of threes involved. Is there any way we could get that lead back again? We've been back and forth in this game quite a bit. Let's see what happens in this final 20 minutes potentially, or is it going to go to overtime like it did early on in the series? Come on, boys. Let's find a way to get that lead. So far, our last few games have been bad defensively. Capaduca gives us the lead. Nicely done, Capaduca. Can we get any insurance? Because no team has had a multi-goal lead in this one. It's been always back and forth at the moment. Come on, guys. Just lock it down. Get one more insurance marker, and I'll feel safe. And we are going to lock it down. 4-3. All right. So we do take the series lead, which is huge, but it is still the home ice team has not won a game yet in the series, which makes me still think we're going to lose in 7. But hopefully we have a good home game the next game. Final shots were 45-37 in favor of us. We win 4-3. So not a bad effort from Spezza, I would say, in that one by comparison to the last 2 games. But Bogosian from Del Monte, Kim from Norena, Zetterberg from Del Monte, and Tuzolino. And the game-winning goal is Capaduca's first of the playoffs from Kolars. Not too bad. So we got some goals from some unlikely players. Any bad plus-minus results? No minus players. That's good. And then, yeah, Spezza had a 919. So when Spezza has above a 900 save percentage, we seem to win pretty good. But if he has below a 900 save percentage, it's usually when we lose. 3 stars of the game. Martone got first star of the game, which is kind of weird because he scored like the first goal of the game. But he had 7 hits, so I guess that's probably why. Capaduca, the second star with the game-winning goal. And Del Monte, the third star with 2 assists. Nicely done. So we've had some close games in the series, but we've managed to find a way to have a chance to close out the series. Like I said, if we lose this game, though, we're going to a Game 7 again. That would be the second time in a couple of years that we've been to the Game 7. And I'm a little bit worried if we do go to a Game 7 that we are going to have our balls to the wall and we're going to lose. So we're going to keep the team the same. Spezza played good enough that I think he could be in net again for this next game. But obviously that could be a big mistake in my opinion. But hopefully it's not that kind of a thing. And if we lose this game, I don't think I'll go to Semenov for Game 7. But I'm not too sure because I just don't know if Spezza's inconsistencies are going to continue to be a problem as we go through this playoffs or not. But let's keep the team the exact same for this next game. Can we close out St. Louis on home ice and win our first ever playoff series? Or are we going to go to a Game 7? And is it going to be the results that I pictured when we were up 2-0 and then they bounced back with 2 wins of their own? Let's see what happens. Come on, guys. I'm going to do a real-time simulation for this game, even though it's not an elimination game for us. I just rather do a real-time simulation since it's a pretty substantial game in our team's history. Penalty killed early to start the game. We kill it off. Power play for us, and they get a power play goal, which is weird because it said that we were on the power play as Ladine opens the scoring. Not a great start in terms of allowing goals. Seems like we do allow a lot of goals early on in games, which might be a consistent problem. Robert Thomas makes it 2-0. Oh my goodness, Spezza. Another first period where we allowed 2 goals. We were getting completely outplayed though. We had 5 shots on goal to their 15, so they tripled us up in shots. We're pretty lucky, actually, to only be down by 2. So we are still in this game, but we need to generate a lot more chances. Right now, we're definitely going to be going to a game 7, I think, at this rate, which is not good. So let's see if we have a good response in the second period. Maybe this is a game where they score 2 goals in the first period, we score 2 in the second period. Hopefully that's the type of trajectory this game goes on. Let's see what happens in period number 2. Come on, guys. I know we don't have a lot of shots, but maybe that could screw up Hofer a little bit. Kesselring makes it 3-0. God damn it, man. I think this might be actually the home ice trend. Unless we are able to find a way to somehow win in St. Louis again in Game 7. It's actually kind of insane that both teams haven't been able to win on home ice at this point. And we're going into the third period, down 3-0. We're being outshot 26-14. We're just not generating enough chances in this game. Like, this team doesn't have the willpower to actually try and get on to the next round. If we somehow get to the next round, we probably have a chance to win the next round, but I think it's going to be really tough. St. Louis is a good team, obviously, during the regular season, but I feel like they've been kind of outperforming my expectation a little bit. Let's see what happens in this third period, though. Looks like we're going to be going to a game 7, potentially, and I might have to make some more adjustments, but short-handed goal against. Bolduc makes it 4-0. That's a really bad one to give up, and then they get another short-handed goal against us. Oh, my goodness. Our power play unit's just like, you know what, at this point, we're not going to win this game. You could take these shorthanded goals. And a very bad performance from our team in a potential elimination game. We lose 5-0, got outshot 38-23. We didn't deserve to even be close in that game after that first period, I guess. But, man, that's a rough showing. Who was badly minus in this one? A lot of -2s. Rick Kim was a -3. Oh my goodness. Our top 6 was dreadful in that game. Oh boy, and yeah, Spezza was bad again. Do I go to Semenov for game 7 to maybe change what the game has scripted into it? Because likely before the series started, I feel like it would have already had it scripted that this would go to game 7. Like, I felt like it could go to game 7 regardless, but the fact that it's the home ice trend right now definitely makes me think we're going to lose this game, but we're going to try and rewrite that by making some crazy adjustments and hoping that it gives us at least a series win, because I don't think this team's going to be capable of winning multiple rounds if they're going to play like this. I just don't. So let's go back to Bogosian into the top 6. We're going to get Rick Kim back on the first line. We're going to go to Capaduca up here again. We should maybe just go back to our original lines almost at this point. Trying to think of what I want to do here realistically. Ristolainen's been actually, he's been point per game. He's actually been better than I expected. I didn't think he was that good right now. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of issues. I don't know if it's our defensive core that's holding us back a bit, or if it's the goaltending still. Yeah, Spezza's dropped down to a 903, which is not terrible, but yeah, we're going to go to Semenov for game 7. I wasn't going to go to Semenov, but I think we got to go with the random goaltender and hope that he could find a way to cheese us into a victory. I could put Dalcoli in as the backup, but I don't think I want to. Dalcoli in the past hasn't had good playoff results too, so yeah, I think we're going to just go with that, and we're going to see what Semenov could do in this game. We have nothing to lose at this point other than this first round. We might as well go with that. And if more of these left wingers could play right side, it would be nice, because then I could just kind of change them back and forth. But this is what we're going to rock. It's basically our original lineup again. And I don't know if it's a good idea to run this original lineup, because it was kind of struggling a bit at times. But it won us the first 2 games of the series. It also lost us 2 games of the series in a row. So let's keep the rest of that the same and see what Semenov could do in game 7 and see if he could change the scripture of this game and get us somehow to that second round, win our first ever playoff series. If he plays really good this game, maybe he starts next round. I might start Spezza next round if we do get to next round still, but Spezza right now has been the epitome of inconsistent. Very good first 2 games. Next 2 games, trash. Next game, he was okay, and then he was trash again. So we also don't seem to be playing good in front of him, though. We've been giving up a lot of shots, so maybe that's the reason why he's been struggling. But let's get to game number 7. See if we could get to the second round, or are we going to be packing our bags in game 7 in the first round like we did a few years ago? Come on, guys. Real-time simulation. Let's get a big response after that loss. Big response. Got to win our 4th game on the road of the series if we want to win. That'd be actually insane to win 4 road games to win the series. As they score early on, not great. Lapalainen, the defensive defenseman. But we answer back. Staubitz ties the game at 1. Nicely done, Captain. Nicely done. We get the lead. Bogosian, okay. We're getting goals from our top 6. That's good right now. That's good. Good response after allowing an early goal. And it's going to be a 2-1 lead for us after the first period. So that's maybe one of our best first periods in the last little while. Shots are 13-9 in favor of us. We're up by a goal. We need to have a big second period here. Play good defensively in front of Semenov because obviously this is his first ever playoff game. And we need maybe some more insurance to make it a bit safer. Let's see what happens in this second period. Come on, guys. Let's get an insurance marker. Make me feel safe because obviously we got a young goalie in net. Never know what could happen. Hey, Staubitz again, 3-1. Maybe he's Mr. Game 7. Maybe he's the new Justin Williams. Rick Kim makes it 4-1. But Thomas answers back to make it 4-2. This is still a little bit tight. Oh no, Lapalainen makes it 4-3. Don't tell me this team's going to blow the Game 7 as well. Oh my god. When we were up 4-1, I felt safe, but then they answered right back, so I was like, I gotta be a little bit quiet here, and then Lapalainen scores his second of the night. I don't know why this DFD is scoring so much against us, but we're going into the third period. Shots are 24-18. Not getting a great goaltending result in this one so far, but our offense at least has been able to score. But we're 20 minutes away from winning our first ever playoff series. We're also 20 minutes away from potentially losing our first ever playoff series. Or not first ever playoff series. Losing our second ever playoff series. Can we find a way to hold the Blues off for 20 more minutes and win every single game of theirs? But I'll lose all of our home games. That would be insane. To go 4-0 on the road and 0-3 on the on home ice in the first round. I mean, it could happen, but I feel like realistically, we are probably not going to be that good in the second round if we're going to be having series like this. But can we hold them off, or are we going to blow Game 7 as well? Come on, guys. Hold them off. Penalty kill to start the third. They get a goal immediately. And they get another one. I knew they were going to take the lead. I knew it. I knew it. God friggin' damn it, man. But we answer back. Doig answers with 10 minutes or so left. Okay, that's good. At least we have tied it back up again. We get the lead. Kolars. Okay. Matej Kolars with a huge goal. Final few minutes. This has been a crazy Game 7. And we get the empty net. Stefan Steen. We barely escape with the victory. And I don't even know if we deserve to win this series, to be honest. But we win 7-5. We did outshoot them 39-25 in this game. But we barely get through this game with a win. Holy crap, that was a roller coaster. Because we were up 2-1, then we were up 4-1, then it was 4-3 all of a sudden. Then it was 5-4 them, and I was like, oh no, not at this point. But Doig, huge goal. Kolars gives us the lead, and then we get that empty netter to seal the deal. Whew. So we go 4-0 in St. Louis, but we have yet to win a game in Albuquerque in the playoffs. I don't think I've ever had that happen before, but we did flip the script at least because it was the home ice trend that I was thinking at first, but not Game 7. Not Game 7. So Staubitz from Doig and Bogosian, Bogosian from Tuzolino, Staubitz from Doig and Bogosian, Kim from Bogosian, Doig from Bogosian and Staubitz, Kolars from Ristolainen and Kim, and Steen from Tuzolino and Del Monte. So Bogosian had a very good Game 7. 5 points. Holy crap. And he's a pending free agent. And then Staubitz, our other pending free agent, 3 points. Doig had 3 points. Kim and Tuzolino with 2 points. Wow. And our goaltending, absolutely dreadful. Semenov, I'm sorry, but you're maybe not the playoff guy either. Maybe Spezza is the playoff guy instead. That's a rough first playoff game for him, but he does get the win. So, I don't know. Maybe we go to Dal Coley again in the playoffs, but man, our goaltending is very bad. Unless it's just our defense in front of them, but Bogosian first star, Staubitz the second star, Doig the third star. But we win our first ever playoff series. It was a lot of work. I don't know what the goals for and goals against is going to look like after that first round, but definitely a little bit of an inconsistent series. Hopefully we can find a way to win on home ice next round, though, because obviously our fans deserve better from us. Hopefully we could definitely show up a little bit better in the next round. But let's take a look at our player stats after the first round. And then we'll take a look at our team stats after when we see who we're facing up against. But in terms of our centers, Bogosian had 11 points in 7 games. Fantastic first round for him. Kim had 7 points. He was point per game. Same with Ristolainen. Steen had only 1 goal, was -5. So yeah, our bottom 6 is maybe the issue right now. Because Steen was pretty dreadful. I mean, 1 goal is okay, but not enough points, I would say. -5 is really bad. And then Peterson was a -2. Left wing side of things, Kolar's on 6 points, Del Monte on 6 points, but the plus minus pretty bad with Del Monte. Capaduco had only 1 goal, so a lot of our guys that were actually good during the regular season, like Capaduco, had a bit of a tough time in that first round. -4. Deg had no goals, no points, -2. Right wing side of things, Doig was on 9 points. So Doig, even though he's not a great regular season guy, to be honest, he had a good regular season this year. He's having a great playoff so far, so I like to see that. We had Stelwitz on 5 points, 4 goals. Nice. Zetterberg with 1 goal. So if we're looking at our forward player stats, it's definitely mostly our top 6 that's been good offensively. Aside from, I think, Del Monte. But the plus minus is the main issue for him. And in our bottom 6, you can see, look at all these guys barely scoring goals and also having bad plus minuses. So maybe it needs to be restructured a bit. Maybe somebody needs to get called up. I don't know. And then defensively, Tuzolino, 5 assists. He was +1, so that was a good game 7 for him in terms of plus minus because he was minus before this. Norena -4 is pretty bad. Tulabov was a +4. Nice. Bell was a -3. Whitfield and Lee had no points, but were +1. So it seems like that second pairing of Norena and Bell isn't doing that well. Like, Norena's definitely a bit of an issue defensively. Like, he's great offensive, but not defensively. And then goaltending-wise, Betts had a 903 and Semenov had an 800 save percentage. So we're pretty lucky to be in this next round. Hopefully we can play better goaltending-wise, defensively, and get that bottom 6 to play a little bit better as well, because it hasn't been good so far. All right. Now the question is, who are we going to be playing in our first ever second-round matchup? It is going to be a rematch with the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild. 2 years ago, they won the Stanley Cup after they beat us in 7 games. This year, they didn't finish as good as us. They finished 47, 32, and 3. So they have fallen off a little bit. But that's interesting. That is interesting to say the least. Let's do a little comparison during the playoffs so far. Actually, I did see the playoff matchup thing on the side, but that's for the playoffs only. I do want to take a look at regular season as well. See what they did during the regular season compared to us. But they won their first round matchup in 6 games. Scoring 4 goals per game. We were scoring 3.43. They were giving up 3.33. We were giving up 3.71. So, yeah, we allowed more goals than we scored in that first round, yet we won. So, maybe there's a chance we could be a cheese team. They were better on the power play. They were 21.1%. We were 15.8%. Their penalty kill was 90.5 to our 81%. So, and yeah, we're 0-3 on home ice, but 4-0 on the road. They're 2-1 on both ices. Okay. Interesting. So there is that regular season. Let's take a look at what they did during the regular season compared to us. So they finished 10 points behind us. They scored less goals than us in the regular season. They allowed less goals by not much. So pretty close in that sense. Our power play was better in the regular season. Their penalty kill was better. So they're a better defensive team in the regular season. We're a better offensive team. Interesting. All right. Let's take a look at what their roster's looking like at this point. I'm assuming it's pretty close to what it was a few years ago, but there could be some differences. Because I do see that Wallsted's still their starter, which makes sense. And Wallsted's a good goaltender, so that's a bit risky going up against a team like that. But maybe we could get redemption on them. Maybe we can. Oh, yeah, I remember this team now a lot. First line, McKenna, Riley Height, Kirill Kaprizov. Very good first line. Kaprizov might be in his last legs in the NHL, but he is still a 91 overall. Second line, Marco Rossi, Tidge Ginla, and Matt Boldy. Very good top 6. Third line's a bit weaker, so I think their bottom 6 might have gone through some changes since we played them. They have Josh Philman, Braden Yeager, I think actually, yeah, Braden. Simon Knack, and some guy named Samuel Domi. Kind of weird. A lowly that was drafted in the 5th round. He's an enforcer. Interesting. Okay. So maybe him and Deg get into a few fights. You never know. He only gets like 6 minutes a game, but he has 2 assists. They also have Nikita Nesterenko and William von Barnekow. Barnekow, I think it's pronounced. I don't know. But yeah, their bottom 6 isn't as strong, I think, as it was last time we played them. Defensively, they have Matthias Samuelsson and Brock Faber. Solid top 2. Topi Niemela and Rod Hedikin. And a top 6 pairing of Luca Cagnoni. Sounds like a pasta. And Tony McCabe as well. All right. Kind of funny that they have a guy named Rod Hedican, though, because I was thinking of Brett Hedican and Rod Brindamore from the 05-06 Carolina Hurricanes. Hopefully I wasn't the only one that thought of that. And then in goal, there is Jesper Wallstedt and Talon Boyko. So, yeah, they have a great starting goaltender. They have some very good offensive weapons. A lot of guys with X factors. Defensively, Brock Faber's pretty much on his own, I would say, but they do have a balanced defensive approach. Do they have any interesting scratches? Tyson Lewis, I thought that was Trevor Lewis at first, but Trevor Lewis would have been long retired. Alphonse how do you even pronounce that name? It's definitely a real guy. Alphonse Friedge? I don't know. Is he German or like Austrian or something? Swedish. Damn, okay, would not have guessed that. They also have Chase Wheatcroft. They have some interesting names on this team for sure, okay? So I definitely think if we want to win this series, we got to contain that top six especially. Even maybe their third line a bit. We also got to contain Brock Faber. And we got to find ways to score on Wallstedt, which right now Wallstedt's rocking a 915. So he has given up 3.12 goals against per game, though. But he has a good save percentage. So maybe his team isn't playing as good defensively in front of him as he's playing. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Albuquerque Aliens Draft Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the second round for the first time in franchise history, as we take on the Minnesota Wild and look to get redemption on them from a few years ago and find ourselves somehow in a conference finals despite having a bit of a mid-first round. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.